Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. It is your host, JO2, and I'm back with another MMA episode. And today we're going to be talking about last night's main event, UFC San Diego, which went down in, of course, San Diego, headlined by Marlon Chito Vera versus Dominick the Dominator Cruz. This was a 135 bantamweight fight. It was the number 5 versus the number 8, so this is a fight that has a lot of stakes, especially in the top 5 and especially in the title picture within the next year or two. Who's going to be a contender involved in that title picture and who's going to be probably fighting for a title. This was a fight that determined such a thing. Now, all the other bantamweight fights are booked. For example, Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong, Jose Aldo versus Merab Devashvili, which will actually be happening next weekend. And then in UFC Abu Dhabi, you have Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley matched up, as well as going down that night, Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. So as far as the bantamweight division is, it's stacked, it's hot, it's ready. It's probably the best weight class in the division, the most interesting weight class in the UFC right now. It's got the most prospects from top to bottom in the rankings and outside of the rankings. It's the deepest easily in the UFC. And we're getting to see one of the most important fights. And this was a fight that I was very excited for two reasons. One, of course, the stakes of the fight, and two, it was the styles. I thought that Marlon Chito Vera has a great all-around MMA style that he's developed, and he's had his ups and downs in his career. He's defeated some fighters and he's lost. He hasn't really put up a good consistent streak, but recently we've seen his game develop all around, and his power, him really just start slow and really just not rely, but use his power and his analyzing. He's so smart. His IQ is so high and underrated in the octagon. And then on the other side, you have the guy who is the chess master, the guy who's known for the IQ, for the mental warfare, this, that, and the third, Dominick the Dominator Cruz. And we know what he's done, we know what he's capable of doing throughout his career, and what he's most known for, being a moving target in front of you and just consistently hitting you. In a way, people call it point fighting, but I actually respect Dominick Cruz because he goes in there and he punches you like 7-8 times and then bounces out, and then people go, oh, he's only point fighting. No, Dominick Cruz gets down and dirty. He gets in there. He gets in there for his takedowns. He gets physical. He doesn't let, Dominick Cruz last night dictated the fight. Now, although Marlon Chito Vera did, win by TKO in the 4th round with a head kick. Just a beautiful head kick. We'll get into that. But let's dissect this fight round by round. So in the first round, I really liked what I saw from Dominick Cruz, and this was kind of the thing that I thought was going to happen the entire fight. Is Dominick Cruz and his gas tank were going to hold up, and he was just going to outpoint Chito the whole night because he seemed like he was 10 steps ahead. Right off the start, right out the gate, head kick, blitzes him, puts Chito on his back foot, Chito's backing up, and they just continue for the rest of the round going tit for tat, and Chito's kind of not throwing, but Dom continues to throw him. While he's not landing, he's making Chito Vera react to everything. And one of the interesting things I saw is that every time that Chito Vera, he consistently would switch stances. And every time he went into the southpaw, which is really the power right hand, which is Chito's kind of best shot, Dom would go and start with a low kick, which would cause a big reaction. I mean, those low kicks were hard. Almost every time Dominick kicked one of Chito's legs, his legs would come up all under him, and then Dom would take advantage and blitz Chito. Although, those weren't devastating shots that would knock him down or anything, he was still peppering him with a bunch of punches to the face, building up that CT little by little. But you get the point. Dominick Cruz was extremely just on top of him the entire fight, as far as just trying to box him, trying to blitz him and catch him slipping and throwing head kicks and low kicks and body shots, and he was mixing it up. But the combo in the middle, the pattern in the middle, always had a blitz. If he was going to the body, if he was going with a low kick or starting with a head kick, in the middle of that pattern, he had, oh my god, in the middle of that pattern, he had a blitz in which he would attack Chito and cause reactions. Now, this being probably his worst round, in my opinion, where he was the slowest, even though he did get a knockdown, when Dom went and threw a low kick in that same southpaw stance, I think Marlon read that and threw a clean left hook as Dom was still like kicking him, clips Dom and knocks him down in the first round, which still didn't give Chito Vera the first round because Dominick Cruz did end up getting up and started blasting him immediately. Then eventually he gets a takedown, which Marlon escapes by getting him into an armbar, and Marlon escapes by getting him in an armbar, and Dominick Cruz escapes that, and they get up, and then Dom eventually gets him back down to the ground, and they're kind of just playing around. But the first round ends very smooth, very normal. Moving on into the second round, I already had Dominick Cruz up 1 round. Now I thought Chito would come in a little bit more aggressive. He did not. As a matter of fact, he played the same conservative style. He was very patient. He wasn't really rushing. A lot of shots he was rolling with, and Dom was missing a lot of shots, and most were like hitting his chest, and just areas that weren't critical. He wasn't hitting Chito Vera extremely clean all the time, and Chito was doing a great job of just reading those blitzes. Every time those blitzes came, Chito Vera was backing up and he was getting out of the way, and it didn't matter. But he did something that I thought was kind of smart. He just kept putting his back up against the fence, kind of inviting Dom to come in and knowing that, hey, if you coming up against this cage, I'm gonna have you exactly where I want you. Because one thing that I noticed Dominick Cruz did not want, and the corner did not want, was for Dominick Cruz to stand still, to be a standing target. That was going to be a very critical problem for them, and that's was shown in round ones and round two, where Marlon Vera was able to score in knockdowns. Why? Because when Dominick Cruz stops and Chito Vera, who stalked him, to his credit, he wasn't throwing a lot, but he was just in front of Dom the entire time, getting peppered and getting hit. But he stood right in front of him, and Chito Vera kept landing beautiful shot after beautiful shot to put Dominick Cruz down. Moving on into round three, this was where the fight really started to turn. And I think because Dom had failed a couple of takedowns in the previous round, in this round, Dominick Cruz really seemed like he was starting to gas out a little bit and starting to fade and really, really feel the fact that, hey, I haven't stopped moving and I keep going up at this guy. And I don't know if that's something of age. I don't know if it's because Marlon just, he rung the bell a couple of times. I'm not 100% sure. But what I am sure of is that in that third round, you saw Chito Vera very composed. You saw Chito Vera just kind of outstrike Dominick Cruz. Now, Cruz did land more punches because the thing is he throws in more volume. So just by common sense and, quantity over quality, quantity kind of won, but the quality won Chito Vera the round. Chito Vera ended up winning the round because he also stuffed, I think it was 1 or 2 takedowns. And that was a key in this fight. Once Dom was slowing down and he was trying to take Chito Vera down, he could not take the fight to the ground. And without being able to take the fight to the ground and not, they were exchanging the entire fight. But even though Dominick Cruz was winning in a point standpoint and he was winning these rounds, Chito Vera had the 2 knockdowns with many less punches thrown and actually landed than Dominick Cruz. But it's the efficient, it's the power, it's the fact that people forget Marlon Vera, even after this fight, now has 10 finishes in the UFC Bantamweight division, which is the most finishes in Bantamweight history. This is a guy who has power. This is a guy who's a veteran and has been fighting. Obviously not like Dominick Cruz, but yes, Marlon Chito Vera does have a history in the UFC and in MMA in general. This guy came into this third round composed after his coaches told him, hey, you need to step it up, and that's exactly what he did. This was kind of the most lackluster round, only because it was very technical. From a casual fan standpoint, there wasn't much excitement in this fight, but from a technical standpoint, Dominick Cruz was constantly feinting, just moving and feinting, and Chito was trying to figure out that puzzle. When can I hit him? At what point do I have to throw? When do I throw the body kick? When do I throw this? And one thing that Chito had very useful to him was he also kept Dom moving constantly, not just because he would hit him, but that front kick. He threatened the front kick. The same front kick he threw and hit Frankie Edgar with and knocked his lights out was the same front kick he was kind of throwing like a... It's not even a measurement. I don't want to say to measure range. It's literally a tool that he's just letting you know, hey, I can throw this. And constantly throwing it over and over and over again. Giving Dom, hey, I got to move my head from the center line. The left, right. Opening, Chito was looking for those openings to get those hooks and those hooks in, those body shots. That front kick to the... Sometimes he also threw it to the body. So he was kind of very technically sound in his attack. He knew he wanted to break Dominick Cruz down, and he could not get... He said it post-fight, he could not get his leg kicks going for the life of him because Dominick Cruz would not stand effing still. Now, moving on to the fourth and final round, Marlon Chito Vera put the just the icing on the cake. This man, Dominick Cruz, starts the round, goes immediately, pressures, tries to get himself a little takedown. It does not work. and Chito starts to get to work. He starts to stalk him again as he's done in all other 3 rounds. Now it's he's down 2-1, and Chito understands the moment he has to win the next 3 rounds if he does not get it finished. He now pushes himself, you know, on Dominick Cruz, constantly stalking him down, hitting him with the jab, hitting him with the right hand, going to the body, the front kick. He's throwing everything at Dom. And at one point, he gets him trapped in the corner, and Dom kind of stops to, feint. He was doing these things where he would feint, and then sometimes he'd just like hop around in place and just try to get his shots off, and that's exactly what he did. Chito waited for that moment and hit him with a jab as he was about to start moving, which then caused Dominick Cruz to drop once again. Cruz gets up, he starts attacking, nothing happens. Chito gets another solid, takedown defense, which I think for the night he was 5 for 7, if I'm not mistaken, 71%. I mean, fantastic for Chito. And eventually, Chito now gets him in another situation where he kind of is stalking him, and he corners him, and he throws literally and it looked like what it was, a right hook or something, but he actually slaps Dominick Cruz in the side. And there was this thing where Chito, Eric Nixick tweeted about it, and Chito and Jason Perillo had talked about it pre-fight, was that Dominick Cruz liked to roll his head right sometimes when he was moving away. John Jones DC type vibes. And Chito Vera knew this. He had actually gotten a screenshot from his coach, Jason Perillo, about this same situation. So Chito throws a slap. Dominick dips his head all the way right. Chito throws a left kick. It lands. Dominick falls flat on his face, nose broken. Chito lands a couple unnecessary, or as Jorge Masvidal would say, super necessary shots, and the fight is over. Marlon Chito Vera is victorious, and after the fight, he did not call anybody out. He simply said, hey, I don't know if I'm ready for the title yet or not, but I'm going to keep fighting whoever they put in front of me, and I know one day I'm going to be world champion. Hey, as a Hispanic, I support Marlon Chito Vera, and I love Marlon Chito Vera. I love seeing this entire journey for him. What's next for both of these fighters? Very simple. I think Marlon Chito Vera is going to go up in the rankings. Number 4, number 3, especially with this performance. I think even if Merab were to beat Jose Aldo, I think Merab might beat Jose Aldo in a decision win. And I actually think some people are counting out Jose Aldo a little bit too much. Jose Aldo is old, but he does have a lot left in the gas tank, as he's shown. He's resurrected his career at Bantamweight. He's actually fought for a title at Bantamweight, for crying out loud. He's gotten a title shot, and he's working his way to get another one. So those two are going to fight. I'm confident that between Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley, of course, that's going to be the number 1 contender, so we know that stays there. Corey Sandhagen and Song Yadong, just because of the rankings of that fight, I feel like one of those will fall, and that will give space for Marlon Chito Vera to rise into the top 3 of the Bantamweight division. On the other hand, Dominick Cruz, I don't know if he stays in the top 10. I would imagine he stays in the top 10 of the rankings. If not, he's going to drop between 10 to 15. My perfect scenario for both of them, if I'm doing the UFC matchmaking, I think that both of these guys should match up winner and winner and loser with next week's UFC pay-per-view Bantamweight bout. Well, featured Bantamweight bout, which is Jose Aldo versus Merab Dvalishvili. So whoever wins should face the winner of this weekend, and whoever loses should face the loser of this weekend, which I think perfect scenario, Merab Dvalishvili beats Jose Aldo. Merab and Chito Vera fight for what should be, I guess a title eliminator of sorts, and then you have Jose Aldo and Dominick Cruz fight it out in a veteran classic style, and possibly both out for a retirement fight. That's what I would like in my perfect world. Thank you everybody for tuning in to the JO2 show. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let everybody know who likes MMA. Shoot them at your boy. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you, and have a wonderful night.